$200 US, so $100 lower than that of the X version, though in reality that part is much cheaper these days. As it stands, the 5600X is priced at $230 US, with the new non-X version coming in at the $200 US MSRP, so a mere 13% off. I should note at this point the Core i5-12400F is retailing for just $180 US, so it is cheaper than the 5600, but we'll take a look at motherboard pricing towards the end of the video. Now, because the 5600 is an unlocked CPU, it should be able to achieve 5600X-like performance via overclocking, and really we're only talking about configuration, with the only exception both CPUs enabled the same level of performance with all 4 GPUs. The game does have a 160 FPS frame cap, and this was reached using the RTX 3070 and up, while the RTX 3060 was good for around 100 FPS, and this was with the highest quality settings enabled. So this is a well-optimized title that looks amazing. Jump its advantage, beating the 5600 by up to an 11% margin at 1080p, seen when using the RTX 3090 Ti. Oddly, the margin is reduced to 6% with the RTX 3090 Ti, but I do wonder if we're running into an Ampere architectural bottleneck at this low resolution. Either way though, the Intel CPU was faster with these high-end GPUs, whereas we saw the exact same performance using the RTX 3070 and 3060. Of course, increasing the resolution does increase the GPU load, and therefore shifts the performance limitations more in the GPU direction. So here frame 3 architecture is limited to around 154 FPS, and Elder Lake at about 158 FPS. Interestingly, even with the RTX 3060, we find that Elder Lake is a few frames faster, and this was consistently seen across our Hitman 3 testing. Moving to 1440p does once again increase the GPU bottleneck, and now we're seeing virtually no difference between these two CPUs, even with the RTX 3090 Ti. The Rift Breaker has proven to be quite a horrible title for AMD, and here we're seeing a pretty strong CPU bottleneck with the Ryzen 5 5600, even with the RTX 3070, where the 12400F was up to 27% faster, seeing we're looking at 1% low data. That margin grew with the 3080 and 3090 Ti, and here the Intel CPU was up to 34% faster, which is a massive performance margin. Even at 1440p, the 12400F enjoyed a commanding lead, though this was really only seen with the RTX 3080 and 3090 Ti. But still, it was up to 33% faster, which is a very significant margin. Moving on to Horizon Zero Dawn, we find when using the RTX 3060 and 3070 that the game is heavily CPU limited, delivering the same performance using either the Core i5 or Ryzen 5 processor. Then with the faster 3080 and 3090 Ti, the 5600 is 9 to 10% faster than the Core i5 competition, so a reasonable performance advantage here for AMD. That margin though shrunk to 5% at 1440p with the RTX 3090 Ti, while we saw virtually no difference with the 3080, and really no difference with the 3070 and 3060. Next we have F1 2021, and here the 12400F provided stronger performance with the higher end GPUs. For example, the RTX 3090 Ti saw a 16% improvement to 1% lows with the Core i5 part, and a 7% boost to the average frame rate. That margin was reduced to 10% for the 1% lows with the RTX 3080, and just 4% for the average frame rate. Then we're looking at basically identical experience. By the 3090 Ti now in the range of 7 to 8% in favor of the Core i5 processor, and of course
Ваша доброта робить вас героями для тварин і надихає Поріна допомагати небайдужим кормами. Безкоштовно.
We're looking at no change in performance using the RTX 3070 and 3060. Okay, so here's a look at the 9-game average data, calculated using the geo mean, and we'll start with the 1080p results. On average, the 12400F was 8% faster when comparing 1% lows, and 5% faster for the average frame rate, so not huge margins, but the Elder Lake CPU was clearly faster overall. We're also looking at similar margins with the RTX 3080, so for high frame rate gaming, the 12400F does look to be the better option. Now dropping down to the RTX 3070, this did see margins reduced, especially for the average frame rate, and then for the 1% lows, the 12400F was 6% faster. So certainly not a big difference here, but for those of you using lower quality settings in an effort to maximize frame rates, maybe jump ahead by a notable margin until you start pushing up over 140 FPS, at least in most titles, and even then it was only up to 9% faster on average with the RTX 3090 Ti. So that's how the Ryzen 5 5600 and Core i5 12400F compare across 9 games. So in short, for casual gamers, it doesn't really matter which one of these CPUs you go grade. It's worth noting, however, that here in Australia, like what I'm seeing here locally, then you will need to carefully evaluate your options. Computers, which he's in the process of doing, and the only differing components of each computer will other the 5500, 5700X, a few other older CPUs or CPUs based on previous architecture. So there's a lot more Ryzen CPU action coming and plenty of other content coming up on the channel. So yeah, make sure you subscribe for that. Also, if you'd like to get involved with the Hardware Unboxed channel directly, get access to our exclusive Discord server where you can chat with Tim, myself, performance advantage. Typically a best case result for the 5600 will be the same or similar performance, like what we're seeing in Rainbow Six Siege Extraction and God of War, for example. Of course, how much of a performance difference there will be depends on the game and the quality settings used. If you're typically going to be using the highest quality settings your GPU can handle with a sort of 60 to 90 FPS target, then there's going to be little to no difference between these two CPUs, and that will likely be the case well into the future. However, if you're more interested in high refresh rate gaming, so 144 FPS plus, then the 12400F will often prove to be the better option, delivering up to 33% stronger performance, seen in the Rift Breaker, though I expect that'll prove to be an extreme case. So in short, for casual gamers, it doesn't really matter which one of these CPUs you go with. For competitive gamers though, I'd suggest the Core i5 12400F. But before we get too deep into the recommendations, let's check out the pricing. As noted earlier, the Ryzen 5 5600 costs $200 US, while the Core i5 12400F is slightly cheaper at $180 US. The only other factor here that needs to be considered is, of course,
game.
Got them flowing in.
Yeah, but it creeps me out how they're different ways. Get the hell out of here. My knee is so sore. Like that. I fell over.
FPS в пабге. Солидно.
Тебе чай сделать?
Давай.
Давай тебе сделаю сюда. Он будет тут теплый. Долго держится тепло? Яй. Или в чашку сделать?
Да давай сюда наливай.
Тебе какой? Черный с пакетика или зеленый рассыпной? Без разницы?
Магистр танковых наук в деле. Есть правите. Что творит молодой игрок на нерью? Гусля скоро порвется. Дал-дал, ушел. Ну какое попадание? Ну и кто здесь батя? Сидим, отдыхаем. Получай. Можем ехать. Дал-дал, ушел. И как мне его продамажить? Продырявил.
Ой, какой же ж ты молодец. Какие же хорошие ребятки играют. Просто мега мозги.
Получай. Продырявил. Опа.
Ну еще тычку. О, хорошо.
Что творит молодой игрок на
Идеально.
нерью? Наш танк в огне.
Что это
Огорел ты
такое?
ярко. Поехали за домашкой.
Хера он полетел просто, как ракета. Куда ты бежишь? Побег к морю. Просто там побег к морю, мне кажется.
Проверяю. Ты шо?
Нет, куда-то побег к морю. Неудачный. Оу, щит. А почему черный экран был? Почему все это время был черный экран? Это странно.
Магистр танковых наук в деле. Вы видели? Не, ну вы видели? Дал-дал, ушел.
Ой, как же это плохо было. Как же это было плохо. Чё?
Наводчик ушел погулять. Гусля скоро порвется. Продырявил. Я не понимаю, как я его не пробил. И как мне его продамажить? Есть пробитие. Его реально пробить? Увидимся, когда увидимся. Продырявил. Получай! Ну какое попадание!
Я тебя прикрою.
Я не понимаю, как я его не пробил. Дырка есть,
Вообще не
урона
туда
нет.
летит.